Welcome to this edition of Desert Vision. I'm Army Sergeant Rick Bush.
Masood bin Sinan Boys Middle School in Kuwait City thanks coalition forces during a ceremony for the 25th anniversary of Kuwait's liberation. Sergeant Rick Bush takes us to the event.
U.S. Army Central, in partnership with the U.S. Embassy in Kuwait and the Kuwaiti Ministry of Education, bolstered the long-standing partnership between the U.S. and the state of Kuwait over the last 2 months in a series of educational programs at local schools in Kuwait City. These events are part of an ongoing U.S. Army Central initiative to further develop partnerships in the region.
We find that working with them through school programs like this is a great way to talk to the youth, to help them remember their history, and to help them understand what a strong friend the United States is and how important Kuwait is to us and our policy aims in the Middle East.
The awareness event aims to educate the younger generation of Kuwaiti children about the partnership between the United States and Kuwait and the role the United States and coalition forces played during the liberation of the state of Kuwait from Saddam Hussein's forces.
As collaborators with countries from all over the world, we wish for peace for all of them and will help any country in trouble, regardless of their origin, religion, or ethnicities. This way, the whole world can know peace.
This was the final of 6 awareness events hosted by the Kuwaiti Ministry of Education leading up to the celebration of the liberation of Kuwait in February. Reporting for U.S. ARCENT Public Affairs, I'm Army Sergeant Rick Bush.
You know, it's great that the Kuwait Ministry of Education has invested so much to teach their youth the history of Kuwait.
I definitely agree, and I've been fortunate enough to be the one to go out and cover these events, and I've learned a lot about the history itself. And what's really neat is seeing U.S. Army Central focused on building the strength between the United States and Kuwait with events like this. Shifting our focus from celebrating to training, we get an inside look at how medics from across Kuwait work together through trauma lanes. They're designed to test their skills not only as individuals, but also as a unit.
In a high-stress environment, maintaining your bearing and staying in charge of the situation are vital when it comes to saving lives on a battlefield.
You know, I think that is probably the most important question, right? How is what we're doing here making a difference? We're letting the medics really get hands-on training. So what we're doing here is we're trying to stress them and trying to get them to practice using the medical equipment in a stressful environment. And for some of them, it's been the first time they've opened up this equipment. And I think it's one of the most important things so that they're making the mistakes and they're fumbling with it now as opposed to when a live patient's bleeding out in front of them.
The training focused on an initial attack, then to transporting casualties to a temporary aid station where a medevac is called. This training was different in that each lane, the casualty had an observer controller testing the medics according to their skill level and their reactions to the situation immediately. One medic explains what they took away from this event.
I think we came into a new place where we've never been before, into this building, and tried to set up our aid bags real quick. And so trying to work with what we have can be relatable in a real-life situation.
With every iteration, the medics came away with more confidence in their skills. They remain a ready and responsive part of U.S. ARCENT and are able to react quickly under stress to save lives. Reporting for U.S. ARCENT Public Affairs, I'm Specialist Brittany Lobos.
The morale sure did look high as the medics were running through those different scenarios.
It was a really neat experience, and the medics hope to see this training continue in the future for those stationed in Kuwait.
What a great job we have. You know, it's such an honor being able to show you, our viewers, the commitment and hard work our servicemen and women do while they're overseas. We've got more stories to tell right after this. Snipers with 1st Battalion 18th Infantry Regiment used semi-automatic and bolt-action sniper systems to maintain their skills at the Udari Range near Camp Buehring, Kuwait. Spotters gave information to the expert marksmen as they made wind adjustments and put steel on target.
Every job has its ups and downs. Some may be greater than others. We traveled to the Deep Blue, where our very own Sergeant Rick Bush met up with a detachment of Army deep sea divers stationed at Kuwait Naval Base.
Every year, the 74th Engineer Dive Detachment conducts surface-supplied dives at max operating depths of 190 feet. The primary mission of the Deep Blue exercise is to certify leaders in diving medicine, emergency protocols, and mission essential tasks.
What we're doing here prepares you as a supervisor to go out and be competent and know that you can handle situations if they arise in remote locations. And it gets you thinking about the things that you need to be concerned with as a supervisor when you're in those situations.
Throughout the exercise, the diving supervisors are put to the test and have to use their knowledge and experience to react quickly to anything that is thrown at them during the mission.
I've done several scenarios before, but I've never done scenarios where I've been in charge of such a wide variety of problems presenting themselves during the dive. I felt pretty comfortable through most of it. There's some decisions that you make on the fly that you wish you hadn't, but overall I felt pretty good about the whole thing.
The Deep Blue exercise focuses on training and evaluating diving supervisors. It also allows the dive detachment to continue training to be a strong, capable, and ready force during maritime operations.
The 74th Dive Detachment is the RCENT dive asset to the entire CENTCOM AO. Us and the Navy are the only two dive theater assets within U.S. CENTCOM, and we are ready and responsive and able to respond to any of the dive requirements that are needed for RCENT.
Reporting for U.S. RCENT Public Affairs, I'm Army Sergeant Rick Bush.
Now that looked like an experience of a lifetime.
You know, it really was, and it's stuff like this that really makes me love the job that we do. When you think of an M1 Abrams tank, you think of a great photo and the concussion as the round fires. Well, with Table 6 training, every aspect of the tank is involved. Specialist Brittany Lobos rolls out the footage.
Sometimes a building shakes after a roll of thunder or from being too close to the railroad tracks. Well, at Camp Buehring, Kuwait, the rumble is 163rd soldiers tearing up the range with the M1 Abrams. The exercise is designed to put soldiers through a range of training and keep them proficient in their crew positions.
It allows us to more realistically test our abilities in a combat scenario. So we shoot live rounds, which are going to act differently in the tank than shooting the AGTS system, the computer system. You have to deal with the tank going down, parts not working. I had a part on my tank break today. So you have to learn how to fight through it and how to interact with all of your crew members in a more high-intensity scenario.
I love it. Best job I ever had. There is nothing that is deadlier than an Abrams on the ground. You can level cities if you do it the right way with a company of Abrams. So if you have a proficient crew, the Abrams can handle essentially anything on the ground.
There was a friendly competition in the unit as each crew attempted to outgun each other.
So far, these are fantastic scores coming up. People are really excited, they're really motivated to be out here and to be shooting Table 6. They're hitting targets left and right. Coax engagements are going really well, and even the far targets that are really out there, the gunners are hitting their mark. So it's been a really good day for Table 6 today.
163rd Armor continues training to maintain readiness and remains an integral part of U.S. Army Central's mission to maintain stability and security in the region. Reporting for U.S. RCENT Public Affairs, I'm Specialist Brittany Lobos.
The tank crews from 1st Battalion, 63rd Armor Regiment went through a 2-week training exercise that concluded with a Table 6 live fire, marking their proficiency before traveling throughout U.S. Army Central's area of responsibility. Now that had to be exciting.
It was very exciting, especially since it was the first time I've ever seen an M1 Abrams.
You know, I'm actually very jealous that you got to go out there and do that.
It was so much fun.
That's going to do it for this edition of Desert Vision. For these stories and more, check out our Facebook page at facebook.com/US Army Central.
And our YouTube channel at youtube.com/US Army Central.
I'm Sergeant Rick Bush.
And I'm Specialist Brittany Lobos.
Thanks for watching.